Greetings, ladies and managers, and welcome to this latest edition of RE072, where I take old stories I've narrated and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called Notes, written by SomeoneForgetable. We don't know what happened to them. For several hundred orbits of the local star system, we've been looking at their ruins, trying to decipher their history, culture, science, and much more. Much has been discovered, but we still only scratched the surface of the mountain of knowledge. For example, what we once thought were several separate alien societies turned out to be all one alien culture. How much a widespread and advanced species vanished without a trace is a mystery. One of the many things that troubled us is that their written language seemed to have hundreds of variations. Many don't even seem to relate to each other. In fact, this was the primary reason why their society had been so difficult to comprehend. One such written language I've taken up to decoding looks deceptively simple and is found across all the territories, but for the longest time I'd found no key to decode it. On the surface it looks incomplex, just circles, dots and lines placed over the bar of lines going across the width of paper. But I suspected it was vastly elaborate, as I have come across various texts that go from a few simple dots across a few bars to hundreds of various dots and lines, all stuffed onto several connecting sheets filled with bars. These dots are not even bound by the bars, as they can sometimes jump high above it or far below it. Further, I had found other glyphs and symbols I had no way of discerning why they were placed where they are. The only thing I knew about the script is that it has been paired with other scripts of their written language. I'd even found identical sheets of this paired with different scripts. I was almost sure that this was a universal script for them, and if I could decode it, perhaps we could have a key to decode all the other scripts. One thing that had given me aid was the discovery of a colleague of mine found an ancient recording he was able to recover. This in itself was a breakthrough, since most of their technology holding their non-physical records is still inert, and this small recovery was a miracle. Our fields of study don't cross, but what he discovered, in fact, did. This colleague decided to wait until more people had the time before it would be viewed. I was amongst that group, with others from various fields. Once we viewed it, we found on it was a recording of a ritual of some sort. It was a large gathering of aliens depicted in a room facing a podium, and on the podium were a few aliens facing the crowd. One held a tool of some sort, and the other was dressed in red with floral decorations. Then, all of a sudden, it started. The one in red spoke in a soft and somber voice, and I was in awe at the same moment. The one holding the tool used it to make sounds that complemented the other spoken words in harmony I had ever before experienced. It was, for lack of a better word, spellbinding. The moment they had started, they had me trapped in a trance. What I had heard was like nothing I'd ever experienced before, and it invoked powerful emotions in me. I felt as somber as the alien's voice, and I dearly wished that I could hold my life companion in that moment. As if I didn't do so soon, I would never again. Against all reason that said otherwise, I pulled the holotab from my pocket and sent him a message, telling him I needed to see him that night and that I loved him. There was an aching in my chest that didn't leave until he finally replied a tick later, assuring me that he would come and asking if anything was wrong. I didn't respond because at that moment, I wasn't sure. When the ritual finally ended, the emotions it conjured lingered in me. I looked upon the group to find everyone else was similarly affected. One of us even openly wept. We watched it several more times out of diligence and study, but we took several ticks to recover ourselves and prepare our emotions better for it. One thing I hadn't noticed before, flowing across the bottom of the recording, was a script being highlighted as the one in red spoke. A script I knew another colleague of mine was translating. Since this was his script, I forwarded the recording to him, with apt warning of its contents, of course. After the discovery of the recording, more attempts were made to recover the non-physical information with some success. But nothing new for my field came up after a cycle, and my translation attempt still turned up nothing. Until my colleague whom I'd sent the first recording to had sent back a few scripts with some additional notes he made. He had found the script sheet containing the word the alien in red had spoke. That was not all, however. The script he sent had also contained the language I was trying to decipher, and another he was sure it was paired with. He couldn't understand how they were related at all, so he jotted down his hypothesis and sent it back to me. One script of mine was paired with his, yet another was paired with another type of written script. This wasn't all that unusual, since half the time my script came unpaired with others, but his notes insisted they went together. What puzzled me was that we only heard one alien speak. If he was correct, then I was missing something. Cautiously, and after a long emotional preparation, I had returned to that recording of the alien ritual to review it and the scripts I received, hoping to glean any sort of insight. When it began again, I felt the twinge in my chest, but I was able to focus. I had followed along as it spoke, both upon the recording and the sheet I'd pressed my primary digit to. Following my colleague's notes, I could vaguely see relations from the script to its spoken words. I also saw a connection between the script and mine as it spoke, but I could not see how they translated. In the end, all I ended up with was frustration. I was still no closer to figuring out my script or how it was used. I knew in the back of my mind there was a connection. Something in me saw it, but I just wasn't sure what it was. My eyes drifted over to my script once more. I noticed that the dots and lines corresponding to timing along the bar. I don't know why. I saw each word the alien spoke had also ran along with that timing, but it didn't make sense. I was at my wit's end and about to throw everything off the table until my eyes landed upon the second unpaired yet related script. My colleague was sure that they were all together for a reason, and I had no other lead to go upon. So once more did I watch the recording, following the untranslated script. There were more dots and circles to follow, but somehow they fell in with the timing of the spoken word. Not wholly, but I could agree with my colleague now that they all did belong together, though I was still unsure why. When the spoken words had paused, the script had continued, and at first I couldn't understand. Nothing was being spoken, but as my digit steadily continued along the script, something else was still keeping pace with each dot. The realization hit me like a wave. The sounds were coming from the tool the other alien was using, corresponding with each circle, dot, and line on the page. As the tone of the tool grew and fell, so did other dots and circles rise and fall across the bar. The script didn't translate words, it translated sound, and from the sound was the emotion embedded in the ritual. I jumped to my other untranslated scripts sitting upon shelves and shelves dedicated to holding them and took the nearest one to me. It was a short script and simple compared to the one I was currently reading. It took several rewatches of the video to gauge what the script said, but with a little focus, I could hear it in my imagination. It was humble in comparison, yet a happy sound, childlike. The next wasn't as easy to imagine, but it was exciting and vibrant, and yet another was entrancing, and another soothing, and another fear-inducing. I felt so many things just reading these scripts. Then I stumbled upon 2 copies of the same sheet, but each was paired with a different spoken scripts. One belonging to the same colleague as before, the other belonging to someone working upon the other side of the planet. And I was struck by another realization. It was a universal language. It conveyed emotions that we could relate to. They had paired these emotions with the words to speak them, and they shared these emotions across all their languages. This was how we came to understand a bit more of what they left behind. The script for sound, for raw emotions, changed everything. It's imprecise, but if we can translate something from one spoken script and find it paired with mine and another untranslated spoken script, we can learn more of what we don't understand. I don't only mean it's changed our understanding of them, it's also changed us. Thanks to my discovery, my people have eagerly embraced a part of the alien culture long since lost. We've adopted the script they created and have begun writing our own sounds. We have embraced the tools they've used to make resonate. We have poured our voices into their echoes and made our own. We became a little bit like them. The sound, this music, we can't escape it now. It is a part of us. Now, like a line in that first song, Malpopo ku o ika a ka'inyane. I realize your beauty. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.